Okay. All right, this is going to be a demonstration for the experimentation with texture and photography. So just to give you an idea of what we will be doing for today and next class in terms of your practice experimentation with texture. But basically kind of similar to this example right here, and I guess this could technically be an example as well, mainly like this one right here. So we're going to try to incorporate textures, within the actual photography itself using the different overlay effects. So now if you want to do like some other things with texture and photography that you may have saw online or you may need help with, just let me know. I can always help you individually with that. But in most cases, though, the experimentation I'm gonna have you guys work on for today, though, is kind of like bare minimum, and I'm pretty sure it could be applicable with anything that you want to do in terms of texture and photography. So, okay, so what I'm gonna have you guys do in the, or what you should have done by now in the beginning of class was I had you all take some photos of different textures in the classroom, and by all means, when we take photos of for like your actual project, obviously you want to, think about like textures like outside the classroom, maybe textures in nature, maybe, different textures like around the building, because, this is a pretty old rundown building we have. I'm pretty sure some really cool textures you can find other than our room. But, the idea though is, you want to take photos of as many interesting textures as possible that you can incorporate in your work of art. So I just took 6 of these photos. I'm probably going to take about like 10 of them in the room. Okay, and then what we're going to do with the textures though is I'm going to have you all kind of just experiment with using those textures to incorporate in your photography. So now I do have some additional textures you guys can use from this practice photo collage assignment. And also if you want to like use some of these photos as like a starting point, that's fine too. But at this point now, you guys probably have like a lot of photos on your iPad, on your devices that you can use. So I'd rather you guys just use like one of your own personal photos. But in terms of other textures you can use, you can go to the overlay effects, click on textures, and I uploaded a lot of different textures you guys can use for like this practice assignment. And who knows, maybe some of these textures may be good for like your project that you guys want to use as well. Okay, so. All right, let's get started. So, okay, so I'm just gonna get started with just doing it on a portrait, but you can do this with like any photo that you really want though. I'm gonna do it on like this photo that I did in the past before. So this is like one of the double exposure photos that we've done in the past. So I'm just going to just hide this layer. I'm not going to use that layer. I'm going to hide the background. I'm just going to stick with just the portrait, cut out portrait itself. So now you don't have to cut out a portrait though. I'm just using this as an example though. Okay, so fairly simple though. You're going to and, oh yeah, I'm going to have you guys do this in Photoshop too. So Photoshop on the iMac. So just make sure to download your download your photos that you need. Okay, so this is like the photos that you want to experiment with, as well as your textures. Okay, so, you can just say it was like a JPEG. That's fine. And then just make sure to go on Google Drive on the computers to transfer your work. All right. Okay, so I'm just gonna download these textures first. So you click on it, download, computer. This is going to show up in your downloads folder, so kind of bear with me. I'm just going to show you guys, what you need to do for this assignment. Since, for some of you, this is probably like your second or third time using Photoshop on a computer. Okay, so I'm going to use this photo here, though, but like I said before, though, I would download a folder on your iPad, upload it to your Google Drive, and kind of like the same as I did before with these photos here. Just upload it. It should be under your recents. It's like last thing you uploaded. Okay, so I'm gonna have you guys upload your photos here. I'm gonna use this one right here. So it's pretty simple though. You have your first photo that you uploaded. Again, you would upload it, click on open, locate your folder file in here. I'll just use this one because this one's very similar to it. So just so you guys see from like a JPEG point of view. Yeah, upload it, download it, pretty simple, and then you have your photo you're gonna use. Okay, so pretty simple there. You're gonna click on the Finder, and this is like kind of like my way of like adding the photos. So you click on your downloads, where your downloads is, and then you're just gonna click and drag your pictures. So I'm gonna click and drag this picture here. So I was thinking about putting like text and words inside of the portrait. So it could be a really easy, effective way you can do your SI number 4 if you want to incorporate text and words. I thought this newspaper was kind of interesting with climate change and some of the 107 nations. This is like 10 years back. I have some like really old newspapers. If you guys want to kind of rummage through those. Yeah, so I'm gonna just click on that. I'm just gonna leave it the size as is, and then really easy. You're just gonna go to your overlays, and then you're just gonna use the arrow keys to kind of just go through the different overlays. So some of these overlays though will look better than others. I would just take a look at all of them. See which one is like the clearest one that's like most transparent. And with like this one, I see like darken and multiply is probably the most transparent. So there's a little bit of like that orange right here, which is fine. We're just gonna see which one works the best, or is the most clearest one. This one's pretty clear, but it's like that really strong orange. We'll go with darken. So go with darken here. And after we've done the darken, we're going to edit the photos a little bit more. So you want to go to image up here and adjustments. So this is something that your iPad version of the Photoshop doesn't have, is the different levels, different ways we can edit the photo itself. So we're gonna just play around with the levels. So levels is pretty simple though. This area right here will control your lightest lights. So I'm just gonna move this here a little bit, so I'll get rid of some of this color right here. I'm gonna move this over here. That's gonna get rid of it even more. And you just want to try your best to get rid of like all the things that you don't need. So I'm actually going to erase this, so it's not that big of a deal, but I want to make sure this text is pretty clear to my viewer when I'm looking at it. So you click on the preview before, after. This kind of cleans it up a little bit more. Like this part right here is really hard to see because it's like more gray, but now it's more clear. So click OK. All right, so we edited that part, and if you want to make it even more clearer too, you can go to adjustments and you can go black and white. Black and white will just get rid of the color. So there may be some instances where you might want to keep the color, but I don't really need that yellow, so I'm just going to change it into black and white. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then for this one, I'm just gonna leave it like that. So I'm gonna kind of play around with like where the words will pop up. So I'm gonna click on the picture itself, and then if you want, you can always adjust like the edits that you do. The eyeball will show before and after. So let's see. I'm actually gonna to resize it, so you can press Command T as in turtle. And then just click OK. It's just saying like, oh, the smart filters will be kind of just disappearing for now, just so you can see it better. So I'm gonna try to like make sure you can read that climate change there, and then the 170 nations. So I'm gonna find like somewhere to kind of put it in to make it look like you can see both those things. So I'm not really too worried about. You can also rotate it too this way. So I'm not really worried too much about like I'm only gonna put it on her face. So 170 nations, climate change. So I'm just gonna kind of adjust this to fit this on her face. So I think that's pretty good right there. Maybe a little bit bigger. Okay, I mean this looks pretty good. Actually, I wanted it on her neck too. So Command T, and then just make sure to cover that part. Okay, we'll just see how this looks. So just covering her face up. And again, some of you guys may not need to do this though. This is just like something very specific. So After you do that, then you're gonna add your layer mask. So you're gonna go to layers, layer mask, reveal all. So kind of the same. You got like that white black box to erase. And my suggestion is use the fuzzy brush. So this is like kind of one of those areas where it's a little bit easier with the iPad because you have to kind of manually erase this with the mouse. So make sure to check the hotkeys on the computers. There are bracket keys right below the minus and plus that will change your brush size, so it'll be much easier to get like a big brush, erase what you need. And then just remember the white will bring it back if you erase too much. So I'm just erasing the stuff that I don't need. I just only want it on her face and the... I could just put on just her face. We'll see how that looks. So, text in the words is a really interesting texture you can use. As that kind of paints the story itself with like just the text and words. So, okay. So I'm gonna erase this line here. I don't think that line is necessary. So I'm just gonna erase a little bit more of the edges. Just kind of blend it in. Actually, don't want it in the eyes. Here. Okay, so I'm just generally coloring it in. So just remember though, the white will bring it back, and then you can also change it to 30 opacity if you only want to erase like a little bit at a time. So if I want to bring on like a little bit more of the text over here, kind of blend it in, that's fine too. So just use the fuzzy brush because it's a good way to kind of blend in your areas that you want to blend in. Use a little bit of black, kind of make these eyes a little bit easier to see. Put a little highlight on the nose. So just little artistic decisions you can make. Obviously that was some Command Z to undo. Yeah, okay, this looks pretty good. So, maybe I might want to crop it in closer now that, we're only focusing on just her face. So, oops, let's use a crop tool. Actually, want to get even a little bit closer. Okay, so this looks kind of interesting. Other nations' climate change. So obviously this is like something about like, someone being concerned about climate change. So, okay, so that's one thing you can do with your photos. Or, you can kind of pick spots to, put a texture on, overlay. Kind of similar to, the example that I saw here with this one with this texture here on the face. So you can spot pick certain areas to do textures using the layer mask and then the overlays. And then if you want to, you can add even more overlays on top. So maybe I might want to add like, I don't know, this texture here. This wood texture. I think this is like a really interesting grunge texture. So I'm just going to just kind of fill up the space. So this one's more about filling up the space here. So we have this overlay, change the layers. Some really interesting, cool looking textures you can get with this one here. So this one I might want to keep the color because I think that brown is like a really interesting color to look at. So, that's really cool. It's a little too strong. So we'll keep it with this. So you can always change the opacity too. And then if you want to go even further with like editing it, you can go, back to the layer mask, reveal all. You can manually just edit, modify the areas that you want to color in. So layer mask, just remember like the black will erase it. Oops. Okay, so I think that's kind of neat right there. So definitely you can play around with this, same thing like before, you can make, and just make sure to don't click on the layer mask, click on the actual photo. You can go to your adjustments, levels. If you want to modify this a little bit more, you can. You get really a lot of that grunge there. Be really cool. If you wanted to, you can even invert the actual photo itself. So inverting it changes the entire effect altogether. So You can create more of like a glow with the grunge. This is really cool, the linear dodge. Okay, so yeah, literally just kind of playing around with like the look of the photo, black and white. Not a big fan of black and white. I kind of like that blue that shows up when I inverted it. Okay, but that's pretty much it though. Just kind of just experimenting, playing with the photos itself. You know, I would do at least 2 or 3 of them. You know, it didn't really take me that long to do this one. So, you know, just experimenting with it for today is going to be the goal.